Hello, everyone. My name is Eric Bitoni with the Basketball Embassy. I'm proud to present Coach Daria Sharova. She'll be presenting on communication. Coach, I want to again thank you for your time. Thank you for your presentation. Everyone, if you can just please put your questions in the Q&A, and please we'll have them all answered at the end. Coach, if you can just introduce yourself just a little bit, and the floor is yours. Thank you so much again for your time.
Thank you, Eric. Hi, everyone. My name is Daria Sharova. I'm originally from Russia, and I came to America 9 years ago. And now I work at the collegiate level here for, it will be my 6th season in the college athletics. Today, we're going to talk about communication, all right? And let me pull my presentation quick. All right. So communication, right? It's a big topic, and I know many people heard it a lot, especially us in the coaching world, but it's one of the most important topics for player development, yeah? And before we start talk about more deeply what is communication and how can we develop it, this is my contact information. Please feel free to reach out. I will be happy to get in touch with as many people as I can. I always enjoy to talk to different coaches from different countries and share experience and help as much as I can. Please feel free to do that. Later when they post a presentation, if you have any questions, please let me know, okay? So before we start talk about communication, why is it so important to develop communication in the player as a whole? You know, communication, we're not talking about communication as a basketball skill only, all right? Because again, it's a skill that we have to develop, yeah? But I want to talk about communication as a development full person, yeah? So I pulled these statistics from NCAA, and I just want you to look and see the percentage of high school athletes who goes play to college at NCAA level and then eventually go to play professionally. If you could see, the percentage is very low. What it shows us that when we in the youth level and put our emphasis for our players only to be developed as a players, we're missing a big opportunity, yeah? Because basketball career, we know, all of us know, can change anytime, yeah? You can get injured, you might get kicked out from the team, or maybe you didn't get the opportunity to play in the level you want to play. So then you have to start a completely new life, right? And you have to have a real job, and you have to have a real family, and you have to meet real people who might be different than you, yeah? And the more and more we talk about communication, the more we think about how do I help my young lady or young man to be a successful person, yeah? And that's what we're gonna unfold today, okay? So I pulled up 3 main things why players have problems with communication, okay? And it came from observation, not only here in the United States, but overseas as well. When I lived in Russia, when I coach in Russia, when I talk to my colleagues in Europe. So here's the first one, okay? Low confidence. Yeah, that is probably one of the biggest and most common problems that players have is low confidence. They think if I talk loud, I'll be stupid, look stupid. If I come to somebody, ask questions, what they're gonna think about me, yeah? And sometimes when we have a new girl, boy in our program, they might think, hey, I'm new here, so I don't need to ask questions. I don't need to say something because I'm new. What if I say something wrong, you know? What if people who is been in the program longer than I am doesn't say anything or doesn't ask questions? I will not do that too, okay? So the second thing is overconfident, yeah? That is another big problem, and I found that actually in Europe and in Russia as well, we'll take Europe, yeah, overseas, this is probably one of the biggest problem, okay? Because if we have a star player who maybe get invited to national team or maybe have opportunity to play in first team in the club, yeah, they feel a little cocky, yeah. They feel little kind of that I'm above that, yeah. That I don't have to do certain things because I'm already good enough, yeah. And they might think, I know everything, simply, yeah. I know everything, so why should I say help side? Why should I say blah, blah, blah? Yeah, why should I say, hey, to my, for example, who calls him David, hey, David, go, move there, yeah? If I think I know it, I think you know it too, yeah? And under this overconfident part, they might be look confident, but inside themselves, they might think, I have to behave that way so people doesn't think that I'm not that good. Not I would say that people doesn't think I'm not good enough. That will be right thing, okay? And the last thing, and a big thing that not just here in US, but in Europe is background, yeah? We here sit in this forum, this amazing opportunity to share our basketball experience, and we all came from different backgrounds, yeah? Most of us was raised in different countries, we speak different language, yeah? And we're raised differently. So when we get players in our team, for example, in our team we have girls from all over United States, we have international girls here as well. They all came from different places, yeah? And problem with communication could be that they just hasn't been taught at school, at home, or in the basketball programs they played. So following those three things, I say and the most important thing to people, for people to understand, for us coaches to understand, this is your responsibility to teach your player how to communicate. This is our responsibility as coaches. When our kids come to our program, we can't just expect them to know stuff, or we can't expect it to follow our culture that we build in our program. We have to put time and teach them. In the bottom, you can see here, I say, coach after coach responds, I have to teach players how to talk. And I did some research before this session. I talked to my colleagues in NCAA Division I level, and every coach told me that one of the biggest problems they have is kids don't know how to communicate. So that's like a main problem that goes beyond level, yeah? It doesn't matter where is it. It's a prep school, high school. In European basketball would be in Russia, for example, it will be a sports school, and then we'll go Jubal, Superliga, and et cetera, yeah? So for us in order to teach kids how to communicate, we need to look at what we as a coaches could do better, right? So one of the biggest things is, and we talk a lot about it in our program, is we have to build the trust. In order, I would say, and probably most of you would agree that besides parents, you probably one of the most influential person is in player's life. So imagine what the opportunity you have to change a child or a teenager or a already adult player in a good way, yeah? So learn who is your player, who is it, you know? Not as just a basketball player. Learn it about the person. How many siblings do they have? What do they like to do outside of basketball? What is their favorite food? Yeah? And then by doing that, you develop the trust, you develop the bridge, because you know something, you know about them, about their soul and heart, besides beyond basketball, yeah? Second thing, words equal actions. And that's a big thing that we as a coach sometimes don't do. I hope you all do, but we have to put attention on it, okay? Our actions have to follow what we say, yeah? If we tell them, if you don't communicate on the floor, we're gonna run. Okay, so if they don't communicate, we run, yeah? If you don't follow your words, it's a break the trust, yeah? Because players now think, oh, coach doesn't mean it for real, yeah? And what that does in the future is affect your culture that you're trying to build in your program. You see how they're all connected, yeah? The third thing is learn how to admit your mistakes. It helps to build a trust. So many times as coaches, we don't like to admit our mistakes. And if you didn't know, but I open your secret, every one of us at some point do mistakes. It could be during the game, it could be in the communication level, it could be something in, I don't know, just during the day. We all do mistakes. We're not perfect, yeah? But if you openly admit it in front of your players, they will look at you and say, man, coach is just like me, you know? Coach vulnerable, yeah? Coach does mistakes. Coach might mess up, which means, hey, I don't have to be shy about it. I don't have to worry about not give a wrong answer, right? Because if coach can openly can admit that, why would I worry about that? Why would I shy up to talk about it? You see? And when 24 hours rule, that's a big thing in communication, and I took it from one of the speeches at VBCA convention, okay? And we use it a lot in our program. When players comes to you after the game and they all have fired up emotions, yeah? And I didn't play, I wanna go to the office and I wanna talk to my coach, why did I do it, yeah? What we do, we give them 24 hours. So we tell them, like, for example, Taylor or Michael or whatever, come to me and I'll say, Taylor, I understand you're frustrated right now, yeah? And I understand you want to play more, but let's talk about it tomorrow, okay? And what it does is it can help player and you as well as a coach to get emotions down and be a little bit clear in your communication when you have a meeting with a player. Communicate clearly. As a program, and I assume most of us, yeah, would develop a certain terminology we use, yeah? That terminology is important and we give our players in the beginning, in the preseason, so they know when we talk about something, they know exactly what we talk about, yeah? So same thing in instructions. When you give player instruction, make it clear, yeah, make it simpler. We had a mistake in IHL. We had a mistake 2 years ago. We had a game, and it was a very close situation. It was just like probably like we was up by maybe 5, okay, and we had 2 minutes to go, something like 2 minutes. And as a coaching staff, we was like, okay, we need to slow down, yeah, use as much time as shot clock we can, so to not give other team opportunity to score. And we told the girls, hey, hold the ball, yeah. But our girls took it as a really hold the ball, yeah. So they would holding the ball, and then when pressures come, double team or a trap, they like crazy trying to give a pass, yeah. And we had a lot of turnovers in those pass games. We lost by 1 in a buzzer beater. So when we came to the office, we sit down together with coaching staff. He was like, my gosh, what happened there? So we came and asked our players, and they were like, we just didn't understood what you mean. And that's when it clicked for us. It was like, my goodness, we didn't communicate clearly. It was our fault to admit it. We say, yeah, that's on us. But what taught us as a coaching staff is if we understand something, it doesn't mean our players do, right? So especially in the timeout, when fires goes up and everybody fires, it's so important to just communicate clearly, yeah? Pay attention to the word you choose. In our basketball program, we say, I will never attack you as a person, but I will always attack your game. And why is it important? Because when I coach you, it doesn't mean if I, for example, have to raise my voice, if I have to punish you, yeah? I don't do it because I don't love you as a person. I do it because I want you to be better in the basketball. But my opinion about you as a person would never change based on how many minutes do you play in a game, how many points you score, or how many turnovers you did. So we give our girls in the beginning of the when they come to preseason, we sit them out and we ask them, can I coach you? And most of them would say, all of them would say, yes, coach, yes, coach. So which give us opportunity in the future when they feel a little uncoachable, yeah, when they try to like go against you, yeah, or a give attitude, we can pull them and say, hey, I thought you told me that I can coach you. And you would not believe how in players' minds it's clicked. It was like, oh yeah, that's for sure, yeah. That's a good example, as I took it same from the VBCA convention, as psychology was talking, and she say, the way we give instructions, yeah, and under pressure. For example, we have a timeout and a team goes to run a play or something, and we say, hey, make sure there are no turnovers, yeah. And our team goes to the floor, and all they can think about it, oh, don't do turnover, yeah, which put pressure on them a lot. And guess what will happen? They will do turnovers, right? But if we say, hey, let's play without turnovers, or hey, make sure when pass goes to you, you are ready to catch the ball, you have your hands ready, you have in a good position. Hey, point guard, if you are with the ball, make sure when you give a pass, she's ready, yeah? So when they come to the floor at that situation, they focus on have my hands ready, be open, yeah? Give a pass if my partner is ready, instead of not doing a turnover, okay? How do we teach our players to communicate, okay? And we will open two different ways, okay? Two different things, on the court and off the court, okay? And let's first talk about on the court, okay? First of all, you have to build your standards, okay? Build your standards, keep players accountable to them. Because again, as I told you, your words have to follow the actions, right? And your players, when they come to your program, they have to understand this is the standards, yes? And all you do is help them to reach it, right? And then if they did, well done. Yeah, we'll move up, okay? We use it, coach at PGC basketball as well, and we use this quote a lot, quiet feet is slow feet, loud feet is a fast feet, yeah? It's a great quote, and what it shows is if we're quiet on the floor, yeah, quiet gym is a losing gym. Quiet bench is a losing bench, right? So, but the loud we are, the more energy we have, the more quicker we are, the more we're more active, yeah, and more opportunity to win the game, okay? One of the things we do in our program, we start communication from the warm-up. And I like that a lot because it helps kind of set the tempo, you know, set the atmosphere in the practice, yeah? So what our players will do when they warm up, they will basically say every move they do, yeah? And one of the biggest things teaches players is listen to their voice, hear their voice, yeah, own words. Because many kids is like, you know, how people doesn't like to sing karaoke because they don't like to listen themselves in the microphone, right? So same thing in the basketball players. Remember, they all come from the different backgrounds, yeah? So we need to teach them by the small things, okay? Teach them to speak loud and clear. Screen left, screen right, yeah? That's all good, but loud, yeah? We do with our girls, if our girl will say something and not too loud, yeah? We will say to her teammate, have you heard her? And she say, no, okay, you have to talk louder. Yeah, and then eventually they start raise voice because we'll always put them in a position where like your teammate stays on the other side of the court and she can't hear you. What if we play in a gym when there are a lot of people? How can you hear your teammate? How can you hear me? How can, you know? So, and it's so important because in a game, when you're big, yeah, when a big coming to set a screen and your player should tell your player, yeah, who plays in defense on a pick and roll over there, hey, screen right, screen left, yeah, in transition. When you go drive quickly, yeah, point guard, and your big is running from bucket to the bucket, you want to give them that beautiful pass and finish a layup, and she might not even see you, yeah? You go, David, boom, pass, yeah? Because first thing and the foremost and the most important thing is player, when they hear especially the name, and we'll talk about it, the first reaction is, yeah, they reacted it. One player said, Oh, sorry, I have mistypo here, but one player said, everybody repeat. What I mean by that, okay? So in our program, we do that. If one player said, when we do from a transition from drill to drill, okay, we will do that a lot every day. We'll pull some girl from the, they go on the layups drill, yeah, and we will say, for example, Sienna, come in. And we'll tell her, hey, next drill is, for example, Wisconsin shooting, yeah? And Sienna is responsible to communicate to her teammates, okay? So what Sienna will do, Wisconsin shooting, and then everybody who heard her will repeat it. So eventually, if somebody haven't heard her, they will hear it, right? So same thing we do like in our meeting, if at PGC, for example, we do that. When instructors say something, all the kids will say, we'll repeat it to do 2 claps, yeah? So if I tell you layup drill, yeah, you guys, everybody will be layup drill, yeah. What helps with our players to figure it out when we do that is, even when, because you know, kids, especially different ages, they might lose their concentration, you know, they might like have too much fun on other drill and they don't pay attention to coach said. But if everybody, it cuts them their attention right away, and then eventually somebody will hear something, and if everybody repeat, everybody know what we're doing, yeah. And another thing we do, if for example, when we're all together, yeah, and they didn't organize a drill, we will pull that girl here, say, Sienna, what happened? Yeah, and she say, I said, but they didn't organize, no. First of all, did you say it loud enough? She said, yeah, I did say loud enough. Okay, Mariah, have you heard Sienna? Yeah, Mariah said, yes, coach, I heard Sienna. So why didn't you know how to repeat it? Mariah was, yeah. And then Taylor, have you heard Sienna? Yes, coach, I heard Sienna. So why don't you repeat? You see how that's all connected? Because if they all repeat it, then everybody will hear what we were doing, okay? We'll save time on the practice, right? That's the person's name is one of the most beautiful sounds in any language, okay? So when you call the name, yeah, people react. Yeah, when I walk on the street and somebody will say, Daria, the first thing I do is turn, right? Same thing in basketball, when we give a pass, yeah, if I say Taylor, the first thing Taylor's ready, right? So teach players how to use the names, okay? Not just, hey, you, or like, hey, yeah? So make them know teammates and make them know people around. When they walk on the street, and we'll talk about it in the next slide, when they talk on the street and Coach David is walking, say, hey, Coach David. No, not just hey, okay? Give to players an opportunity to be a leader. This is a big in our program. We want our players, put our players in a situation when they can lead. Yeah. So in that case, what it does is helps to develop a communication skill. So in that drill, when we pull girl and tell her what we run next, what it does as well, we will tell them to organize them. Organize them. Yeah, if it's 2 lines and each line has a 3 balls, that is your responsibility to organize a drill. If we see that, okay, we have a time, okay, and we will usually, what we'll do, we'll say, when 20 seconds left on the clock, we transition to next drill, okay? And if they, by the time of 20 seconds finished, if they hasn't organized, first of all, first couple of times we'll ask it, what happened? Yeah, why do we have 3 balls here and 2 balls here? And Taylor would say, Coach, I tried to organize them, but they didn't listen to me and everything. And we would say, hey guys, why don't you help Taylor? If Taylor cannot help you, right? So, and that's what it does. It helps to develop a leaders, yeah? It helps to help kids to step in and actually lead in the team. And not just your top players. We put, many times we'll put our new kids or the kids who doesn't play much. because we want them to feel like they matter. Yeah, we want them to feel that they're important in our program and they can contribute to the team even if they play 0 minutes, okay? Your best players have to set the tone. That's huge. I cannot ask my girl who sits on a bench or a new girl to do certain things if my best player doesn't do it. So we keep our best players very accountable. We put them in office and we say, how can I teach so if you doesn't do that? They are the one who been in the programs the longest. And then the one, for example, who play a lot, show why, right? Lead them. Lead your teammate, okay? Let them think and let them talk to each other. We do that a lot. We, as the coaches, have a tendency to control things, right? So if we do competitive drill and one team is losing and we will blow the whistle, we'll say, hey, get together, talk. What is going on? So we don't give them a decision right away, like we know how to fix it, but we want them to get together and communicate to each other. Same thing when we do 5-on-5, yeah? When they 5-on-5 and we will sometimes, me and team will just take a whistle and we'll just rev them. So they can take a timeout on your own, they can choose the plays they do, and they can communicate subs and etc. And it might look ugly at first, yeah? But what it teaches them, take a leadership and analyze the game, yeah? We're down by 5, what do we need to do? Do we need a press? Do we need to play normal man-to-man? Do we need to switch to zone? How many minutes is finished? Yeah, 30 seconds. What plays do we run? What do we need a 2-point shot? Do we need a 3-point shot? Or we just holding the ball and maybe go for like end one or something, you know? So it helps them to understand the game, okay, of basketball. Body language is huge. Body language on the bench. I can like when I go to recruit and I cannot stand when players have this body language here. Imagine I would talk to you right now like that. I bet you would get another good vibe from me, yeah? So same thing with players. We tell our players, don't swing hands, yeah? Don't, when I take you out, give your teammates high five, right? This is a type of communication, right? It's nonverbal communication. You communicate that, hey, I'm okay. Hey, I can handle the pressure. Hey, I can overcome the mistake, okay? Instead of showing how weak I am by swinging hands, by arguing to the ref, by sitting pissed off on the bench. We have that in our team. When kids sit on the bench, we don't let them skip the seat, okay? So every player has to sit together. And then when we watch film, we'll look how our players behave when our teammates scored or when we do mistakes and stuff like that. And if we see go, kind of like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? Yeah. Or something like, everybody fire up, but she just sit on. We will pull her in the office and we will show her that and we will talk to her about it because it's important, because it's a part of our culture here at Montreat, okay? Always huddle, as I think many of you know, and how important it is in any pause you have in a game or on a practice, just to huddle, get them together so they can talk about it, yeah? When it blows a whistle on a free throw, come and huddle, yeah? Communicate what the defense will play next, right? Because David might know that we, for example, in 1-2-1-1 press, but Sergio might not, yeah, or I don't know, somebody else, yeah. So by the huddle, okay, with 2-1-1 press, you right there. So now, as soon as ball goes through the net, we already know what we're doing, okay? And energy, that's a quiet gym is a losing gym. Energy everywhere, yeah. On the practice, on the game, okay, gives the energy. Every single thing you do, bring energy. And many kids, you know, they just personality is different, yeah. You can just like say, for example, something silly, you know, something silly, and they will laugh and it'll relax them a little. It will help them to bring the like that little kind of fire, okay? So sometimes it's okay to do jokes. It's not we don't have to be serious all the time. Yeah, there's time to be serious. Is there time to just make them feel that this is a good place to be, you know, because basketball, especially for a youth team, youth players, is not a job. It can come up eventually, but what most important thing, we want them to enjoy the process. Yeah, we don't want them to come to practice and say, "Oh my gosh, coach will yell at me, and I have to stay focused so much to not say anything." Yeah, no, we want them to stay focused, but we want them to have fun. All right. I want to show you one video at Duke University. I like that video. We show it at PGC, and I show it to my players a lot. Just how to warm on the warm up. You can emphasize a communication. Okay.
Once we get in the gym, all you hear in the gym, need a chest, need a chest. Let's go, dude. Let's go, dude. There we go. Like, dang.
Coach Daria, we're still showing your presentation, Coach.
Everybody's talking to each other.
Coach,
I love.
Yeah. Can you see it?
at the moment, it's still showing your presentation. It wasn't showing the video.
I got you. We'll fix it right now. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Just one moment. I forgot that I need to switch that thing. All right, let's watch again, y'all.
There you go, Coach.
Once we get in the gym, all you hear in the gym, need a chest, need a chest. Let's go, dude. Let's go, dude. There we go. Like, dang, this is just stretching. So when we start getting into it, everybody's talking to each other. I love that energy.
Get strong, talk loud, and play hard.
So you see how Duke emphasized communication starting from warm up, okay? So it's kind of like example of how can you teach kids, yeah, especially younger ones, get to the habit of communicating, okay? And as you can see, Zion Williams is one of the best players. He has to learn that too, yeah? So, and anybody, so it's not about just the level, okay, of the play. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about communication outside of the basketball court, okay? And that is huge, all right? So first and foremost, any players that plays in your program represents your team, you as a coach, your basketball program, any club, university, or organization they play at. So you have to emphasize that for kids, because when they go outside of the gym, yeah, they have to have in their head, it's not just about me, okay? The way I talk to people, the way I walk, the way I behave, I represent more than just myself, all right? And respect is one of the biggest things you have to be conscious about in your program if you want to be successful, yeah? And respect not just between player to player, but between player and you as a coach, respect to other coaches in the program, yeah? And we say, like, to our girls, simple hello gives big results. When girls comes to our office and they see somebody who they doesn't know, they have a tendency to say, hey coach, and then say what they need to do. So we will stop them and we will say, hey, why did you tell hi to me but didn't say hi to, like, Mr. Davis, for example? And they'll be like, you know, so we make them like, okay, exit to do it again. All right, so they will come and they will say, hey coach, hey Mr. Davis, yeah? So same thing when they walk in the basketball arena and they see coach maybe from the other age group or maybe men's team or something, makes them to say hello, yeah? And when we go to a restaurant, makes them to say hello, yeah? It's a simple little thing, will take you a long way. And we'll take, again, remember, we develop not just a basketball player, yeah? We develop a person, right? put them in a specific situation. I love this one. Especially girls who have, or boys who have issues with communication, take initiative and put them in a certain situation, okay? You and your team go to the game, you travel in the bus, you stop for food, okay? Tell them to put the order in. Tell them to go ask for something like team needs a silverware. Go to say, for example, Michael, go ask about that, yeah? And with Michael shine, but now he has to go and he has to learn how to talk to people, yeah? In college here, it's easier for us in college because girls goes to classes. So teachers will tell us, for example, so-and-so very shy. And we will be like, so-and-so, come here to the office. And we will say, hey, starting from tomorrow, you have to ask 3 questions on each class you attend. And we will tell professors to give us feedback, okay? And at first it's so scary to them, you know, they will be like, but what do I ask? I will say, hey, you might ask the same thing, repeat something. Yes, say, Mr. Da-da-da, can you repeat it? But what we want them to do, we want them to take initiative to communicate, all right? Gives them opportunity to be wrong. This is big. And I think like us European coaches, we have this tendency a little bit to be like very serious, you know, and we want it to be perfect. And the American coaches, same thing there, but we need to let kids be wrong. Then the wrong answer is better than no answer, yeah? When we watch film and I say, hey girls, what do you think we could do in this situation? I want them to shut it straight. Because why? Because first of all, for me as a coach, I can figure it out their thinking. And secondly, it's developed for them habit of expressing themselves. Because most of the kids, they cannot simply express themselves. We have a female team, yeah? They dating boys, they broke up. I know my girls, like, I know how they behave. So she walks in and I'm like, come here, what happened? Is it nothing, coach, nothing, coach. No, something happened because I could see it. No, nothing, coach, nothing, coach. Okay, come here, get to the office. What happened? Talk to me. You sit here, we don't start practice until you talk to me. And they'll be like, oh, broke up, la, la, la. So you kind of have to like teach them how to express themselves. And one of the biggest and scariest thing for children and for anybody, youth and us adults, you know, is to give a wrong answer. Because we worry that like people think that we're stupid, or we don't know something, or coach will think, oh my gosh, I don't understand, and so I don't play you. But if you create an environment when kids can explain and express what they think, it will take you a long way, because now you don't have to say, Maria, that's not right. Who can give me a right answer? No, you say, Maria, this is a great thought, okay? And I see what you see, but in this situation, look, we might do this. In that case, what Maria says, hey, I'm not that wrong. Coach, see what I mean? Yeah, and now she helps me to figure it out. What can we do in that situation better? Okay. This is a big no response in one word. And if any of you ever want to send a player overseas, play in America, okay? One of the biggest thing, like, it's hard. It took me time to learn, okay? That when players respond in one word, they will say, I will say, hey, I'm so excited to see you on campus tomorrow. We're excited to have you on a visit. And she will say, okay, you know. And at first couple years, it was like, come on, you know. But then I just thought like myself that, all right, it's not a problem. But when they come to our program, we definitely will emphasize, if I ask you something, respond me in a full sentence, yeah? Or it can be, thanks, coach, see you tomorrow. Thanks, coach, good night. Or just simple thanks, coach, yeah? Not just okay, yeah? And the same thing when you see them in arena, or we see them brings them to the office to talk to them. If you tell them, if you ask them a question, yeah, she will say, I will say, why do you think that? yeah? Or why do you feel that? Or explain it to us, yeah? Or break it down to us. And those little things, it helps kids to analyze, and it develops communication, right? Team meeting, let them express their thoughts. Yeah, we already talked about it, but what we do when we sit in a team meeting, we have that after, especially like after games we lose, when it's hard, you know, a little upset, we will sit them out and we will say, hey, what do you think went wrong? Okay, and they might say to you, coach, I think you choose the wrong defense. And then you as a coach has to be transparent, okay? So you can't say, what do you mean? Yeah, or something like, how dare you to tell me that I, no, you would say, okay, I get you. It doesn't mean you have to change the defense because you know the system, right? But it's good to let them opportunity, give them opportunity to give you a feedback, okay? Sometimes we'll bring our starting five, we will say, for example, guys, what play do you think we might need to run better? And they will say, we think instead of high double, we can run this. It doesn't think we never run high double? No. But what it does for us is we want to hear them, yeah, and show them that we care about them, and we'll listen to their opinion, because then they will be fully, would love to communicate more in the next situations and feel comfortable to do so, okay? But if players tell you something, you shut them off, next time they will not probably share their opinion, yeah? But again, we want to develop them as a players. Think in a situation when they graduate, they have a family and a husband, wife, and husband didn't do something right, and that girl that came from your program, or that boy that came from your program, didn't learn how to communicate, and they will be just like sitting, and it's just a snowball that destroys the marriage, right? So we wanted them to express themselves and talk about problems, okay? Because we prepare them life after basketball. It's not just a basketball, okay? And don't let drama destroy your culture. This is a big one, and it's a big drama is always connected to communication, okay, off the floor, because first of all, don't let extra stuff going on in your locker room, which will happen eventually. But if you catch it, you might pull them and say, hey, you two, sit down here and figure it out, and don't leave the gym until you figure it out, okay? Because drama is stuff like that has destroyed your culture, okay? And if you see drama happened about you as a coach especially, it gives other kids an impression that, hey, I can do that too, yeah? So those, you have to control that little things, because they can destroy your culture, okay? So that's kind of little, short but important things about what we as a coaches can do in order to teach kids. Because close out, ball, help side, it's all good, yeah? But you can't get a kid and tell them do it if he never done it before. And in order to teach him, you have to hit all areas of life around the child or around the player, yeah? And there's so many opportunities to develop communication, because and if you do that, and they do that, and they learn it, and they become respectful, and they become great communicators, and they talk to teammates, and it takes them a long way beyond basketball, okay? So I want a quick video, like really quick. I want to show you how to new shares. I want to show you a video from the practice of University of Connecticut and Virginia Tech. And I want to just show you how they do it. And so the first drills they run in the practice is communication drill, okay? Where they have to call everything, every catch, they call it, okay? Let me, 1 second, why do I not see? Every pass, name, they call it every single thing, okay? So let me pull that quick. All right, where you go? Sorry about that. So let's see, University of Connecticut. Yeah, just here has a talk. Tech. You see, simple passing drill, right? Nothing fancy, but how effective could be to focus and start the practice right from the energy standpoint and build this communication skill in players, okay? So this is all from me today. If you have any questions, let's hear questions.
Yes, please, everyone, put your questions in the Q&A. Coach, I have a question for you. When you're coming into a new setting and you're trying to build that culture and you're starting with communication, what is the first thing you recommend you start with? You gave a lot of examples. What is one of the best things you start off with, just to test and see where your team is communication-wise and where you need to go?
Okay, so first of all, when we took a program at Montreat 3 years ago, and we took it in order to develop, rebuild the program, yeah? So when we came here, there was a lot of issues that we needed to fix, okay? So it's a great question, and first thing we did, I mean, first, of course, time you have to observe, yeah? And then you can't come to the program and right away cut it, yeah? And right away, we're gonna do this way and only this way, because kids, what it does is kind of like push them a little bit away from you, yeah. It's kind of reject them, yeah. So we just slowly starting to emphasize, hey, I know you done this one, but now we do this way and only this way, yeah. And when you come to a new program and take a new program, the first thing is just build the trust, and come and talk to them individually, bring them in the office, call them if you can, but you need to establish the relationship that players know you care about them as people, okay? And then from that, you're starting to change the practice, the way you practice, the way you call it, you know, and be patient. Yeah, it might not happen in 1 week or 2 weeks. Yeah, because especially if program was, if you have a lot of seniors or in a professional team, if you have people who play maybe there for like 6-7 years, yeah, it takes time to change habits, right? So, but as a coach, no matter what you do, you have to stay on your standards, yeah? So if we change the habits, you have to keep them accountable on that. And they might start from the warm-up drill. And if we agree, like, hey, we communicate in the warm-up drill, if you see them not do it, you tell them, yeah, you keep them accountable to that. You see, because it's a build your culture, yeah, that you want to establish in the program, okay? Did I answer you, Eric?
Yes. And I actually have a follow-up. When you're trying to work on that trust and you're trying to build that relationship, do you start off with an individual, like you mentioned, bringing them into the office and communicating with them? Or do you recommend our team setting first and team communication to start?
What we do, yeah, we do individually first, yeah, because it helps to know each other better. So what I do, like for example, if new girl or something, I'll tell her, hey, so and so, meet me at 12 p.m. in a cafeteria, yeah, and I'll go eat lunch with her. In a cafeteria setting, many people will not one-on-one, yeah, but we'll sit on the table individually, and it helps kids feel that like, oh, coach put her attention to me individually, you know, and we'll do the one kid at a day, you know, and then eventually at some point we'll get them to a locker room together, and we'll play some games, or maybe like say, for example, hey, we'll give them a question and like we want to, like, here are 4 people, what do you guys think about it, you know? So like right now in the COVID situation, we do Zooms, and our girls do devotions, and we will say they will choose. So when I do devotion, I'll call the next person, yeah. So every Zoom we have one girl take a leadership, yeah, in front of everybody. And someone's easy, so someone's not. But it's kind of like, it's hard to say like what more important, one or another. But I will go first to know them individually as a people, because it will help to establish that trust, you know. So.
Thank you, Coach. I really appreciate that insight. And again, I want to thank you for your time. Coach, do you have any closing remarks before we wrap up?
No, just thankful to be part of it, and please, would love to connect with everybody, and stay safe, and learn the basketball game and share the basketball game, and just enjoy your time at home right now, and hopefully we'll all come back to normal soon, but just stay safe. That's the biggest thing.
Coach, and if anybody wants to get a hold of you, how's the best way to get in touch with you?
So you can either use a WhatsApp, since it's international number, you can use WhatsApp. You can shoot me a message on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, email, whatever the best for you. Please do it. It doesn't matter to me, honestly, but I will answer to you as soon as I can. So we have time difference, but as soon as I get it, I usually try to respond, and we can have a phone conversation on a Zoom meeting, and anything you need, please let me know.
Thank you again, Coach. I really do appreciate you and your time. And I encourage all of you to take a look at the replay so we can dive in more into a lot of your points that you had made during your presentation. Everyone, I hope y'all be safe. Have a great weekend. And thank you again, Coach, and see y'all soon. Everybody take care.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.